We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order and do roll call. We'll start with Councilman Labrum. Here. Councilman White.
Here.
Councilman Baird. Here. Councilman Waite.
Here.
And Councilman Burdick.
Here.
Thank you. Again, welcome everyone to our meeting. Glad you're here tonight. We have a full agenda. We're excited about the things that we have to talk about tonight. To begin, we'll have a prayer that I'll go ahead and give. And then following the prayer, Brian, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay. Our Father in heaven, we come before thee this night. We're grateful for the many blessings that we enjoy. We're grateful for this opportunity we have to meet together as citizens of Roosevelt to discuss the needs and issues in our city. We're grateful for the blessings we enjoy. We're grateful for those that serve in our city, for the citizens, for the city employees, city officials, and all those that participate in making our community better. We are grateful for the freedoms we enjoy, for those that fight and protect those freedoms. We ask thee to bless them. We ask thee to bless us this night, that thy Spirit will be with us to guide and direct us in our efforts, that we might make good choices and come to good decisions. Again, we're grateful for all things. We love and appreciate thee, and this we humbly pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Go ahead and look over the minutes of last meeting. Are there any changes or corrections to the minutes? We'll go through page by page. Page 1 and page 2. Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved, Mayor.
Second.
Motion by Councilman White, second by Councilman Labrum. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. As is customary with our meetings now, we have a public comment period at the beginning of each meeting where the public's allowed to come, any member of the public's allowed to come and speak for 3 minutes. And would anybody like to take the opportunity to do that tonight? Please, and you're doing it correctly. If you'll come forward, state your name and address. And
Don Walters, 100 South, 100 East, or 100 South, 100 West.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the first name.
Walters, WALTERSBON.
Your first name?
Don Walters.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is my first time ever coming to a council meeting, so I don't know how the protocol. My concern is I'm a father of 3 boys, one anywhere from 2 years to 13 years. My boys get out on the road. There's a 5 mile per hour difference between Main Street and a block over, 2 blocks over. To me, that doesn't seem like it's right.
And you're talking east or west?
Main Street is 30 miles an hour, and any given street this way is 25 miles an hour.
Okay.
In a residential area, I can understand, the junior high road, Lagoon Street being 30 miles an hour or 25 miles an hour. But in between those streets, you have children playing all the time. And I think it's a little bit dangerous. My boys get out on the road at times. My little guy, he climbs the fence at 2 years old. I don't know how I'm gonna cure that one. Maybe do the whole thing like at the jail or something, maybe. That concerns me. I don't think that there's enough police officers to cover all of the areas, and I understand that. But it is a concern of mine as a parent. Another concern of mine is the drugs that plague our community. There are probably 3 drug houses within a 2-block radius of my house. I have drug guys coming all the time. There was a gal that tried to kidnap a little baby, and she was in front of my house. And you can just tell, you can tell the people in our community that are on it. And it concerns me. I'm recovering myself, so to see the other side of the fence really concerns me as a parent. I mean, all it takes is a dirty needle, for them to drop a bag and the kid be curious on what it is, get it on their hands. You know, I mean, my oldest is almost 13. At a younger age, he was around all that stuff. Now I see the other side of it. So now I'm concerned as a parent. I would just, you know, there's not enough police force in our community, I don't think, to curb that and get it out of our community. It's gonna be a never-ending battle anyways, but to at least get it out of, I mean, I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but that concerns me as a parent.
Yeah. I agree, and those are things that concern me as a mayor also, especially the drug thing, and we are looking at some of those things. I know we're looking at possibly hiring another police officer soon, and so those are things that are on our radar. I would encourage you to come in, maybe visit with the chief of police as well, and talk to him about some of those things, especially if you know where those drugs homes are.
They know where they're at. I've talked to them already.
Yeah, and so
They know where they are.
there's certain things that have to happen, but we appreciate your comments, and I have taken the notes, and we'll look into some of those issues for
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Don. Are there any others that would like to take opportunity? If not, we'll move on to the agenda items. We'll have I don't know whether to call you Harold, Huff, or Hal. Huff.
If you'll come too late for dinner.
All right. Come on up, Hal. While he's coming up, I think I can preface it a little bit just with some of the things. With 8 South, we want to finish that road there, and we're widening that road, and it'll take some of your property. Is that correct, Hal? And so to help you with staying in compliance with our ordinances and things, we've made some adjustments, and you've talked and worked with neighbors and to get some lot line adjustments done. Is that accurate?
Yes, Mayor. Actually, those that are familiar with that, the Augustus sold that property, and the new owner and I worked out a deal.
Okay.
We exchanged about 7,000 square feet for about almost 11,000 square feet.
Okay.
So we get to keep a barn.
Great.
But we gave up 70 feet of street frontage. Maybe let you guys see this one.
They've got it up here on the screen, but we can look at that too.
Okay. To the,
Let's. I'll have to sign it anyway if you want to.
make sure the 70 feet here for additional square footage
Okay.
to the. See, it's upside down. That's the way you want to look
This,
at it.
yeah, this is
That's the
8
street,
South.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we traded this for this here.
Okay. Great. Does anyone have you had a chance to look at this, and you're familiar with it? Are there any questions for Hal on this, or?
I'd make a motion to approve, Mayor.
Yeah.
Second.
Motion.
This baby for years.
Yeah. Have a motion to approve. Councilman
Second.
Wood. Second by Councilman Labor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thanks, Hal.
This has
Glad
been a
that
long
worked
time
out.
coming.
It's done.
It's better than
This is
all.
what,
Patience is
5 years,
virtue.
almost 6 years?
The guy that bought
Do
that
not
property is an old friend of mine from West Valley.
Apologize.
So that worked out good then. Good, good.
Do you have to do the
It's
date?
better than
Or you-
You can just do all auxiliary if you want.
Fantastic.
Did you look at that? I don't know if they've done this. Right. But there's not enough out there. I just wondered if you knew something I did see that. And I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's just approving them
with this.
Yeah, that changes the course.
This is yours.
I take it, I record it. The fence is-
Thank you. Glad that worked
Appreciate
out.
Just a little side note, maybe I better get over here. We still have people flying on 8 South
Yeah,
during the peak hours. I've seen one car pulled over.
gotcha. Well, I'll ride with the cop skin. I went with them once and
And
they're out there working, but we can,
he didn't cite anybody because he was back out there at 90 seconds later, he was parked again.
gotcha.
I've made a conscientious effort to slow down through there.
It's so rough, I don't know why you'd go fast through there anyway.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Okay, now we have 3 similar lot adjustments, is that correct?
Yes.
So I think the best thing to do would be to treat them all basically the same, right? Because they fit into the same,
Subdivision.
Dean, do you want to kind of come forward and let us know what your thoughts are? And then any of you others that would like to, you can too. But if he says what you're thinking, then
Sure. We just purchased the lots behind our houses. We all face Arriva Road. It's those first 3 lots right there. Chris's house shows us 4. We'd like to adjust the lot lines on the back side so that that's all one parcel for each of us.
okay.
Mayor, I have some familiarity with this project. I've reviewed the plat. I'm very comfortable making a motion to adjust the lot lines.
Okay.
So you're just adjusting your backyard clear to the next road, is that, and so you'll,
Let's hold off on that just for some discussion. Is there any questions on that? Some of the things that, just for me personally, I talked to the developer of the subdivision and just got their feeling and kind of how they mentioned that they had visited with you and maybe all of you. Some of the things that were brought up were sidewalks. I guess it's right now currently whoever would be to build a home in there would put in the sidewalk.
Build a dwelling, build a building,
Yeah.
and it's before certificate of occupancy, they would have a sidewalk. That would have been the old rule that this would have applied for.
So I guess the
So the landowner would be responsible for that.
right for some continuity throughout there. The sidewalks I guess would be a question. The buildings that might be built may be a question as far as the property owners go that are adjacent or near there. Speaking personally, in an area like that, property value is very important, I think, and to maintain property value for everyone. And so there was also a suggestion or a thought to, if there were outbuildings or whatever built, if they could match kind of the same look, stucco, rock, brick, or something like that. I'm just throwing things out.
No, and I agree, and that's, it would have been prudent for the developer to go in and file codes, covenants, and restrictions.
Sure.
They failed to do so, so
Right.
I wouldn't have purchased the parcel had that actually been the case. I don't think any of us would have, had we not done our due diligence and found that to not be in place yet.
Gotcha.
And I purchased mine 2.5, almost 3 years ago.
Sure.
When there was no houses there, and the understanding was very clear that I was gonna build a garage. And there was no discussion on how it would be built or what it would look like. It was, I'll take the money for the lots right now at a premium price too. So I gave a very good price, double the tax value records, completely double, because I wanted those lots specifically so no one could build behind me and so that I could build a garage, and there was nothing there. So I was fortunate, it was 2 years before these guys when I bought that, so I was very clear with it.
Yeah, so your garage would fit. I mean, your garage would be similar to the outside of your home and things, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
not gonna build something that looks horrible, but
Right.
there's no covenants on me, and there was none in place when I bought it, and there's none on my paperwork either. I was
Sure.
very clear that whatever I wanna build, as far as the garage, and there was nothing in place there.
Right. Are there any other thoughts or concerns with the area?
I'm I've got a question or two.
Go ahead.
Would you guys follow the frontage rules for the lane going through there, or would you be putting your garages? I mean, what can't I don't know.
Setbacks.
Yeah,
We've
for
gotta be-
setbacks.
We've gotta be 30 off.
Okay,
And so
even on the new property.
Even on the
but-
new property.
Okay.
Yeah, adjacent to the road, we've gotta be at least 30.
Okay.
So that's our intention, is to be at 30 foot back.
Okay.
I don't wanna speak for the
That's
group.
that's good to hear. Also, if a fence were to go around your property and you were to have an approach from this new subdivision, I called Jared West as well and talked with him, and he said that he felt that it would be safest if that fence was set back 3 foot from the sidewalk, because when you leave an approach directly onto a sidewalk with maybe a blind, fence or privacy fence, it could be dangerous, and of course, safety is important to me. So,
Absolutely.
If-
And we'll
if-
drop the fence down to match, same thing, same fence setbacks as well, just to
Okay.
make sure that we can keep a good line of sight there.
I'm happy to approve that as long as we have those conditions in place.
As far as, so say that again, what do you mean by fence? So it's
Let me
3
write
feet
this
from
down.
the sidewalk. correct?
So with the sidewalk, 3 feet behind the sidewalk as a setback, the
Okay.
fence be there if you have an approach from the new street, just for safety reasons, as people are walking on the sidewalk and stuff. We wouldn't want a car pulling out of there without anyone seeing it. It's just a safety precaution that at my workplace we have an issue with the fence goes right to the sidewalk, and it's a very dangerous issue.
I mean,
So
I'll adhere to 3 feet from the sidewalk. I mean, it's the back of my lot.
right,
So it's not the front of my lot, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So
If you're okay with that, I
my
mean that's
primary residence is in the front, so I'm really technically on Riva Road, with
Yeah.
doing that, so. But I'm not gonna bring my fence 30 feet back from the frontage, because that would be.
oh heck
that
no,
would be
yeah. I wouldn't
part of my
expect
lot
that at all.
lines, and I lose-
No, absolutely not.
From the sidewalk to 4 feet, I'm okay with 3 feet from to put my fence.
Yeah, yeah. That's all I would expect
Because I have a
personally.
fence all the way down right now that sits on the road coming in, and there is no sidewalk there, so.
What's the name of that road that will be your backyard?
Is it Greyhawk?
Greyhawk Lane
Greyhawk, that is why it's called.
or Loop, Greyhawk Loop.
Greyhawk Loop,
Yeah.
Greyhawk Loop.
What is the city specifications on how close a fence can be to a sidewalk approaching a road?
Is there a rule there?
I don't think there's a rule, I'd have to.
The rule is, how I remember it, is it can abut the sidewalk.
Can it?
It just has to drop to a certain height. So
So
my,
either way, I think,
I
as
think
long as
it's
you're
3 feet.
satisfied.
I think it's 3 feet of 30 is where you have to drop it.
I guess I would call us back to, this is a lot line adjustment. The building codes will still govern how they build. I don't see any problem with adjusting the lots. I mean, they've followed the process. There are no codes and covenants that prohibit them putting a garage back there. It's the right thing to do, in my opinion.
Yeah,
That's, I'd say we just keep our, not worry too much about the ordinance that govern the building, because we have those in place.
I guess the only one for me is that the setbacks, the safety, that can be done several ways, with the 3 feet off or with a lower fence or whatever.
I agree
The
with that.
sidewalks, I think, is a concern, that just keeping that.
I
And so
think
would
the
that be,
sidewalks will be required if there's a structure built before they can occupy the structure. The
So that'll
sidewalk
be-
would have to
It's
be-
part of-
that'll be part of
That
our,
would be our
Sure.
rules.
great?
Is that
Currently, the developer, if this were developed according to our new rules that we currently have in place, the sidewalk should have been put in by the developer.
Right.
This was started prior to that, or at least I believe it was.
The project was not started before the
The
development.
construction wasn't, right, but
Yeah, so he bought the property, so he owns, so that's, I'm glad we're bringing it up, because
yeah,
that's
I
the
think he
debate.
bought it,
He bought
he
the property,
subdivided it, and because of the subdividing of the property and the plan approved, that's why it went under the old one, is what I believe. I can double check time frame.
because based on what I looked into research is, he bought the property, but he didn't start development of the property until after this code was put in place in 2015. So technically, if we're going by the letter of the law, the builder is responsible for the sidewalks.
Yeah.
So if we go through the timeline, he bought it in 14.
The builder and not the developer?
The developer,
The developer,
the developer is responsible because he didn't start the development until after this code was in place in the first of 2015.
It's a good point, and I know that they're close in time frame, so I know that they're close in time frame. Curious question would be is if there was any discussion between when they purchased it, whether there was any discussion of him finishing the sidewalk in that, because that would have been
I think,
nice at that time too.
just to give an example too, I've done several of these and I've done them through the county. And sometimes there are stipulations put on certain lot line adjustments or, zone changes and things. I know I had certain stipulations put on a piece of property of mine, meaning the neighbor wanted a fence, and so I had to put up a fence, which nobody else normally does. And so I don't think we need to go overboard. I just think we need to make sure that, I think everything's been addressed. The sidewalk, I mean, if we want to make that, just when you build, if you would be willing to put a sidewalk there to finish that out. I think that's what's going on with the rest of the people that'll be building in there. That will be their obligation. So, but that's just ultimately I don't have the say.
When did the
So.
new rule go into effect?
Well, it was after I came in 15, so it was, what was it, we worked on it for a few months. It was an issue that was present when I came in June of 15, and probably by August or September of 15, the new rule went in.
And when was the road accepted?
Well, I don't know that the
Road accepted in later 15.
Or the subdivision?
Yeah, I'd have to look at when it was approved. I'd have to go back and look. And we can do that, and that's fine with me.
That'd be great.
So I would have a question then too. Who paid for the sidewalk in front of the 3 houses that are
And I
there?
think that's what we should do.
Yeah, that's a good question.
And I'll tell you who paid for it. Bob West paid for that sidewalk in front of those 3 houses there.
Okay.
And those came after.
But didn't he build those 3 houses though? Did
Yes,
build
he
those?
did. I did the tile on 2 of those, so I know
I
he did.
remember when we had this discussion, because Councilman Burke and I had different opinions on the ordinance. And I'd have to go back and look, but I'm quite positive the burden does fall to the landowner for the sidewalk.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't anymore, but I'm quite positive it does there.
I know that phase 1 was already in place before I came. So I know that phase 1 was already in place. The first house was already there when I came. And I don't know any, I can't, institutional knowledge before I came.
And I guess if everybody is under that understanding, that when you were to look to get a building permit, then that would be required. I think as long as everybody knows that that may be a requirement or will be a requirement at that point, and you're okay with that. Is that?
And if they can go back to Bob and acquire him to, I don't think we have any opposition for Bob
No.
to build it.
No,
Just as long as it's in place
in place.
before they occupy any structure that's built. But if they can get Bob to pay for it,
It's great.
I don't think there should be any problem with that either.
So do you want to make that a part of your motion, just to make sure that the sidewalk is?
Yeah, I mean, it would, when I created the motion, I would, just with the understanding that we would follow those ordinances, and they are in place. So,
Okay.
yes, the sidewalk has to be in
Plenty of
place.
sidewalk in front of mine. I won't speak for that.
I'll second that motion.
We have a motion by
Mayor.
Councilman, yes.
I'll second it if it hadn't been seconded.
Okay, a motion made by Councilman Wade to approve lot line adjustment with the knowledge that the sidewalk will be done at time of occupancy. And we have a second by Councilman Labrum. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That's good done.
For the lots that are facing you across the street, are they sold to individuals?
No.
That could make it harder to sell them. I mean, that's a hard deal, but it happens.
Yeah.
I have 200 to
I think these guys, since there's no CCRs in place, they have a right, to do
Yeah.
what they like.
As long as the city's protected in that.
Yeah, and we have safety.
It's ours.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it. It is a,
And thanks for allowing us to do that all at once.
hey, thank you guys. This is round 3, so we're just like wrestling, no overtime. We're great with that.
And this,
We come out all winners.
Chris,
That's right.
this plat takes care of yours also, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we found out that the hard way.
I did this one already.
Thank you, Park.
I'll let you roll that out so that I
Thank you,
don't
sir.
freeze.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, dear.
Okay. Is Clayton Miller here?
Now, so did that motion cover all of those?
Yes.
Doesn't look like Clay is.
Okay, and that was one that probably should go to planning and zoning prior?
It has been, just briefly, it's this piece of property here. The question comes, I don't know if it's this property here, the question comes of how we can develop it.
Yeah.
And we're looking and saying, how can we keep a road through? We have a sewer line through there on this side, and that's something, as I talked to you, I found out later that we have a sewer line that goes through that side of the property. In this road all the way down through here, so we have a sewer line all the way.
There is one clear through.
Yeah.
Obviously,
but,
that's a tight spot.
It's a tight spot, and we're looking to see how we could fit a road. You've seen the map, how we could fit a road here, whether it jogs, what can be done. I believe at this point, planning and zoning didn't take any action. They asked one of the members to contact the adjacent property owners, see if they can help facilitate a discussion between the two property owners, and for them to see if they can come to a some kind of idea, and then bring it back to them. So, unless you want to act differently, planning and zoning hasn't finished it, but with our timing of the agenda, it got added, so that we had things on the agenda in case it passed, so it would flow. But because we moved that up. Now, just so that you're aware, planning and zoning has moved their meeting up a week, so that it'll facilitate that in the future.
Given the circumstances, I think we, with Clayton not being here, I'd like to see planning and zoning see that prior, and then them making a recommendation to us.
I did get involved there because one of the landowners, a cousin, and I know that, I think, but if they Ms. Boonder, there's been some communication with landowners, the Boonders, and my cousin, and hopefully with Clayton, that maybe they can work together to make it beneficial for all landholders there. So, because Clayton's, what he wants to do there, it's just too small,
Yeah, it's tough.
and there's no really road access and stuff, so.
Great.
It seems to me, watching the planning and zoning meeting, that they're kind of looking to us as an idea of what we will accept. And my perspective on it is we need a through road there as far as we can get it so that it benefits the interior landowners somehow, somewhere.
Agreed, and that's where Lynn may be coming in with being one of the property owners to the west or the east, and possibly putting the road and doing that on the opposite side of what
Yeah,
they're proposing.
and with the Boonders possibly, and then it would come in south behind the new elementary down there.
Okay.
Hopefully, so it'd make a full loop. I mean, it's the only one that's really gonna make the access, so hopefully, it's gotta be kind of a joint adventure by some landowners down there that could benefit everybody, really, if they all connect on it, so.
It does complicate it with the sewer lines in the back.
Yeah, if that's in there already,
Sewer lines
that,
in the back of properties in the backyard, always a lot more difficult for us to maintain.
so that's where,
So that might be another piece that we went through and identified after we.
Ryan, just for some added specificity there, is that a trunk line sewer line or a 4-inch, 8-inch? It's a
Large.
14, big.
Yeah.
whatever it is.
That's the amount that's March. 14, 18,
Sounds like
March.
we're not ready to move on that yet, so there's some work to be done.
I think
So-
passing it back to planning and zoning was.
Yeah.
I would just add, Mayor, I concur with what Councilman Burdick said. We need a road.
Yeah.
We've got to do the right thing for the city in the long run.
That's right.
And, you know, if it takes a little time to get that worked out, let's do it, but let's do the right thing.
Agreed. Okay, really quickly, we had some scouts and I was waiting for all of them to show up. So, real quick, if Brian and Eagle, and remind me of your name. Evan.
Percival.
Percival. If you'll come up, we have a little trinket for you, saying that you've been here. Yeah. It's a little flashlight.
Thanks for coming.
You can use on Scout Camp.
Congratulations
Thank
to you.
for coming. Thank you, Eagle. So, glad you guys are here tonight. Glad your leader's here too. Fearless leader. We have next item up for bid, the site plan approval for Roosevelt Domino's. And it's Dan, right?
Dave?
Or Dave,
Yes.
excuse me. And Ron's not here tonight.
Ron's not here. He's my business partner, and he's kind of heading it up, but he couldn't be here tonight, so.
Okay.
My name is David Kearns. I am the franchisee of record for Domino's. A little bit about myself. I've been with Domino's for about 12 years now. Started as a part-time driver out in Denver. Eventually worked my way into management out in Salt Lake for a few years and decided to get into the franchising business. My first store that I purchased was out in Vernal. So I own the store, many of you probably driven by it, out in Vernal there on Highway 40. So that was my first one. I've also owned the store down in Mesquite, Nevada. I purchased that one. And recently, 6 months ago, we opened the store down in Price. So this is not our first step into starting a new Domino's. So you know, my background is pretty much the operational side. I'll be out here a couple times a week and visiting the store, making sure it's running correctly and so forth. We're very successful in the other 3 stores that we're at, so you're not getting someone new, someone that doesn't know anything about, you know, what they're doing. But I can't believe I'm in pizza for a living. It's really cool. I mean, I got a little bit of a late start, but you know, if you had to do something, why not pizza, right? Why not pizza? So we looked around a couple other different towns, and you know, we looked at the different towns, and we felt Roosevelt it just fit everything we were trying to do with a new build. So we're looking at getting the lot just on 100 South in Main Street, right, just north of Murray Motors there. It's going to have a drive-through, but none of the. It's going to be off of 100 South. It's not going to be off Main Street, so there won't be any possibility of backup or anything like that. But we've got we went through the planning and they approved all that from our drawings and everything. So overall, we're excited about everything. Our hours, we do open at 10:30. We will close at midnight. And then on Fridays and Saturdays, we do stay open till 1 in the morning. So one thing I have noticed about smaller towns is it does slow down after 7:30, 8 o'clock. But you know, if something is going on and so forth, then you know, we're open, we're available to deliver, and we do work a lot with schools. We work a lot with activities and so forth. We do a lot of donations to, you know, any type of a fun run that's going on in town and so forth. Just contact me, contact the general manager, and you know, we'll be out there. We'll be out bringing pizza and so forth to all the people out there. So we feel like, you know, we'll be bringing in about 13 to 15 jobs. About 4 or 5 will be full time, and then the other 7, 8, 9 will be on a part-time basis. So you know, we're just excited to you know, to look at this great town and come in and jump in and fill that lot in with a brand new building.
Well, on behalf of the city, we're excited to have you here, and we're excited that you chose our town to invest in, and I think it's a great thing. That'll be a good improvement on that corner lot, and appreciate, you choosing us. So,
There was some discussion of planning and zoning between parking stalls being 10 and 11.
yes, and
Just wanted to clear that
can
up.
I address that really fast? Because I heard about that this parking stall is
I
down
heard,
11.
yes.
So I have a company, we have big trucks, 1 tons. So I actually went out and measured out 10 foot.
10 and 11, yeah.
10 foot's adequate, in my own personal opinion, but that's
Okay.
my personal opinion.
And, one thing, I don't know if they talked about it and so forth, but we're gonna have a drive-through also.
Yeah,
So I think 70 to 75% of anything being picked up is gonna be coming through the drive-through also.
Sure.
And if they wanna park in 2 spots, I'm fine.
yeah. Is that something that we'd have to address and make sure that we
I
made
just
an
want to
emotion?
make sure that when you make your motion, that you're approving the site plan as done, not as recommended from the planning.
Okay.
Zoning. Recommended 11, staff would say
But the site plan's done at 10.
the site plan is done at
Okay.
10. So if you approve as site plan, that's 10. Our standard for handicap is 9, and so our standard is only 9 that way. And so to require 10 or to volunteer 10 was very good because they're getting larger than normal and larger than standard already. To go to the extra one, I think planning and zoning was thinking that they were the very minimum and wanted a little bit bigger if they could, but they were already proposing bigger than what the standard was, so we appreciate that.
Me being me, I physically measured it out.
You
just to
measured
make
it.
sure. So,
Just a question to that, with the 10 foot, which is fantastic, is that, Domino's, is that your preference? Or would you desire 9?
I think 10 foot's fine. I think with what the drawing came out to be, and like you said, out here in this part of, eastern Utah, there are a lot of big trucks and so forth, a lot of mirrors that come out a little bit, and 10 does fit, and so I think we can keep it at 10. I've got no problem with 10. 9 doesn't really add an extra spot or anything either, so, I'm good with 10.
But I just had that question after seeing what came from planning and zoning. I didn't agree with that ask. I just wanted to know if you're pushing 10 because that was a kind of a compromise, or if 9 was really your desire because that's the city standard. But if 10's your desire, fantastic.
Yeah, we'll put it in 10 so you guys can get your parking.
Minimum standards is 9.
Right.
And most people in the city can negotiate 9-foot parking stalls.
Okay.
Those trucks can haul a lot more pizza out of there.
But if you look at the plans there, I think 10 foot fit just right for with what it is, so, you know
Engineer
what?
did a great job, and we appreciate that. I'm just, the requiring you of 11 really.
Yeah, that's what
Government
yeah.
overreach,
my partner, who is my brother, mentioned. He said 11. I was like, that's
ridiculous.
Yeah.
imagine a little Nissan pulling in, and they got all sorts of room together.
Well,
I apologize for that discussion.
Oh, that's okay. It's part of it.
is there any other discussion? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the site plan as drawn.
I'll
with
make
10
that
foot
motion.
stalls. Motion by Dustin White,
I'll second.
second by Councilman Burdick. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Motion passes. Thanks, Dave.
All right, we're excited to get to know
Thank you.
everybody here.
Yeah, appreciate,
Thanks, guys.
again, your investment, and look forward to eating some pizza.
There'll be plenty.
Dan?
I think, is there someone ahead of me?
Nope. Yes, there is. Presentation. I better start checking these off. So we have the ordinance 2018-416. This is Axia and their storage yard being changed from RR1 to M2. You want to give us just
I
a brief?
can, I was just curious to see if somebody from Axis is here. Okay, so it has been gone to planning and zoning. What it's doing is, when the annexation of Stonegate came in, all of the annexation was assigned as an RR1. This is taking this small little section down here that is closest to the M2, where the airport is at, and the industrial park, taking up the little strip here and 2 spots up here, and taking it up and rezoning it to M2. The planning and zoning has recommended that. The staff would recommend approval of that. It would need to go to public hearing in order for it to proceed. So this discussion would be, do we take it to a public hearing? But at this point, it has gone through that process and is now for the council to determine whether they want to take it to a public hearing and consider it.
Now, just so everybody's aware, M2, is
M2 is one of our most broad manufacturing, industrial. It allows industrial and manufacturing. So it will allow as much as the industrial park.
And I noticed, is that the orange, at what point will it stop? Just because the Stonegate subdivision falls within that, is that
So it
supposed to
would
be that
just
way?
go up, and there
On the
is,
side right there.
it's like right this section here.
Okay,
So it's not getting into the subdivision.
Alright.
There is one spot below and then one spot above here. You can pull up the property descriptions, but it's right in here that it would be done that way.
Okay.
So,
Do you mind if I
go ahead,
speak?
Councilman Berry.
So I think that when we have it in public hearing, could we put a boundary around that just for display for the public? Just,
sure.
yeah, I think that would be, I mean,
Yeah, that would be fun.
that way we could see for sure what exactly we're talking about.
Perfect. Would entertain a motion to put that on and get that out for public hearing.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Waite,
Second.
second by Councilman White. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll get it on the next. Get it out for public hearing. Now we have Dan. How are you?
Good, how are you doing?
Good. I'm excited to see what you have for us.
Or you can pass that down as well. City Council, Mr. Mayor, thank you for giving me your time tonight and being here. I'm Daniel Mockery, the Duchesne County Library System Director. Tonight I'm here to share with you the proposed 2018-2020 strategic plan for the Duchesne County Library System. And the library board has gone through this with me. If you have any feedback on this, my contact information is on the back of that pamphlet. Please feel free to do so at any time. I will be summarizing that pamphlet for you tonight, so you don't necessarily need to, but you can look at the pictures as well. This new plan is directing a new mission for the library system, and that is simply a simple one: opportunity and growth. And what we mean by that is we need to aim the resources of the library to providing more opportunities to the individuals in our county and to providing them opportunities to promote their personal growth. That's a big change from our past traditional library missions, which have really been focused on library stuff and the things it's collecting and trying to push out. We're throwing that out. It should be adaptable to the needs that are regularly changing for all of our patrons in the county. So we've come up with 6 goals over the next 3 years to help move that forward. So number 1 is a community hub of opportunity. The library space is a great place to gather and to share learning, but we find that we haven't tapped into our greatest resource, and that's the people. We have people in agencies, we have interested citizens that have a great variety of expertise that they could share with people, and we don't get them together to have events at the library to and co-sponsor those things to share it. So we will be seeking out those people and creating partnerships. Some examples are USU Extension, Workforce Services, Arts Councils. We're aware of people that want to teach a living logic class in Roosevelt and even cosplay workshop. So there's all kinds of things that could be shared as a community hub. Second is outreach and awareness. We do believe very strongly library service extends beyond the facility itself. Last year we already took some steps by adding drop boxes in Altamont and in Tabiona, and there's return service coming right from there already. We started off-site weekly circulation at the Villa and at Parkside Manor this last year as well, once a week, to those homebound patrons. We will be talking with the city councils in Altamont and Tabiona over the next week to see if we do something similar up in their area as well. Not quite bringing back the bookmobile, but some of the service will be coming back a little bit. But also taking events up there. It's hard for families and individuals to drive 40 or 60 mile round trip to hit a library event. So we're going to see what we can do there. Awareness-wise, we know that our address for our website is really bad, and I can't even tell you what it is. But it's going to get a facelift over the next couple of years. We're going to expand beyond Facebook on our social media platforms and better engage our print advertising. Number 3 is regional history. The other probably next most important resource is our own story and what we have that's irreplaceable. The library burned down, that would be our biggest loss, is our local history. So already, there is a room adjacent to the Duchesne City branch that is already being renovated right now. That will be the beginnings of a Duchesne County History Center that will come out of the library fund. Historical photo collections and negatives are already being collected there. We have various cemetery records across the county that have been remapped out and done by those great volunteers. Newspapers, county history books, that's all being collected, and our hope is over the next couple years we'll get that available in person for people to come and see, but also digitized so people and local historians can take advantage. Fourth is continuing lifelong learning. We have done, I think, pretty good at trying to make available a wide variety of print. Obviously, the next major step is electronic. We have a statewide collection of ebooks, but we've never made the investment on our own. So starting this year, we will be moving into providing ebooks and e-audiobooks that will be exclusively available to people with a Duchesne County Library card. And that will supplement the statewide collection as well. So that'll be a big step. Once that rolls out, we will look at adding possibly some databases like language learning databases or databases that collect business information demographics that others could take advantage of. Number 5 is Roosevelt Branch. It serves our largest population in the county, and the library visits continue to climb, and the facility is starting to struggle to meet the demands of peak use. We had 300 people come to Dr. Seuss Party, which was double what we had last year, and it's our biggest library we've ever had. I guess you just serve food for breakfast. What we see as our biggest needs, we don't need more book warehouse space. What we don't have is we don't have a large area to handle 300 people. They're all in between the shelves, and that's an issue. None of our libraries in the county have small group study rooms anywhere that people could take advantage of, even informally. There is limited space for technology expansion in that facility, and the staff operations are all allocated into one room. JR and I had an interview there. It serves as the server room, the janitor's closet, the branch manager's office, the staff break room, storage, and I'll stop there. But we don't need a room for every one of those needs, but certainly it could be improved. That'd be nice, but the biggest thing is that we could certainly offer more frequent and varied library events and allow it to be available for the public to come and use it. In Duchesne's room alone, it was used 200 times each of the last 2 years, 200 per year, by outside organizations wanting to borrow the room to have an event of their own. So we can only imagine what it'd be here as well. We don't have a location. That's probably our biggest hiccup heading into CIB is we don't have a spot to put that, and we need to figure that out. The last one is technology access. The library should be an opportunity not only for information, but access to technology that a lot of families probably can't afford or have in their home. Beyond the internet, of course, is scanners, 3D printers, business machines, and audio and video production equipment, just to name a couple of examples. We could have that available. People could come and take advantage of that and have something they couldn't have at home. We'll also try to introduce classes to help people get started on using those. So those are the 6 goals that we're proposing for the next 3 years. It's not about stuff. It's about learning and about helping people to grow and have knowledge and interest shared and to have more opportunity. So those are our goals. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Dan. Couple things really fast. I have met with Dan a few times, and is it Stephen?
Stephen Wynn.
He was just the Librarian of the Year?
The Utah Library Association selected him. He'll be awarded next month at the annual conference as Librarian of the Year. He's served 20 plus years in three different library systems.
And we have him here in Roosevelt. Another thing that really piques my interest is the History Center. I've heard from many people in our community that would like to see our history preserved. I know maybe they're doing something about that in Duchesne, but as we look forward at the Roosevelt branch, could be something that we'd look at doing in our Roosevelt branch as well, having some area for history. But sounds like we need to, as a city, identify a spot where this could go.
Do you know what size of spot you need?
Our gut reaction right now is It's a about a 4,000 square foot facility, and it has done admirably for 30 years. I want to add, it's been done a good job. We're thinking it probably needs to be about 3 times the size, really.
12,000.
12,000.
12,000 as a base footprint, or are you talking multiple levels?
Yeah, so I've talked to Sam Passy and Uinta about it. That is his number one regret, is a double level building. Elevators and its upkeep and staffing. His O&M for that building is so much more because it is on 2 levels. We will be hard pressed to staff a 2-level building. Our library revenues, we think, we are confident that we can handle a 1-level building, but a 2-level, I'd have to have a lot more staff, and I just don't know if we can do that on our current library revenues. So I think we're gonna try to keep it to 1 level if we can, is our goal. But 12,000 square foot. Right now, the going rate of library construction is anywhere from $250 to $300 per square foot. We're hoping it's not 300. But you're looking at about a $4 to $5 million facility. Our goal is to hopefully go to CIB. My predecessor, credit to him, has not overspent the library budget, and there is nearly $2 million available already. We're hoping not to bond this thing out. We don't want to bond it, we don't want to increase that, but if we can get CIB to match that in a low end, hopefully no interest loan, it should be, but we don't have a location to present to them yet.
And I may just make a recommendation on location. One, Utah State University has a large piece of property
Right there.
where their campus is, where UVTech's campus is, but a piece of property towards Highway 40 that I think you may have a conversation with them. This may be something that one fits in really nicely with education, obviously, but it would be a nice location in Roosevelt City that would beautify the city and give perhaps better exposure to the library system. It's just something to think about here in the front.
So the one right by, is it over by you?
If you look right to the left where the mouse is, there's the white roof you can see. That building is actually slated to come down.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
That's right next to Davis.
And that's something that I think, conversations I've had, I just think that'd be worth pursuing and having some conversation, dialogue with them. It would be something they would, have to probably work out a lease agreement or something, but I certainly think with local government and the university, it's an avenue to explore. A good avenue.
I'm gonna.
Under the space of where we're at, the footprint, if we were to include the old building into it as part of
Maybe we could have that as our history.
as the history,
It's a historical look.
have it
I've
added
had people
to it.
complain about that ever coming down.
Yeah.
People have already commented to me
So we-
about, don't touch
But I
the
think it
oldest
would be
library.
interesting, at this point, this is the first I know of square footage and height desire, but we could at least lay it out and see where it is. Nice thing is, we've got it off of Main Street instead of where a high commercial
Commercial.
area would be.
That's what's my thought.
There's a parking lot that helps facilitate some of that, and some good parking in the area, maybe not perfect. But there is that potential, but what do you do while the library's torn? You're gonna be out building it for a year, right? It'll take a
Probably
year to
take
build.
about a year of construction, yeah.
So-
You have to do some kind of temporary things.
At that point, you'd have to store. I know that the lease for this building, the hospital has it at a $0 lease. And they're looking within the next year or two of possible other options. When that lease comes due, they're currently using it for the end.
Make a note to talk to Jim on that.
So I visited the two
I'll beat him up too.
But at that point, maybe we can see what that square footage would look like there if it could fit at 12,000. That 12,000 is fairly large. But we could obviously look to see, but the other one, not nice with Highway 40 is retail, which means there's a lot of
Commercial.
people want to be on there. Commercial
Yeah.
on that.
I
But
think
possibility.
for tonight's discussion, I think we definitely need to look at that in the city, and we can, just to move the agenda along here, but definitely get you an answer for that so that you can go to CIB and have something more solid.
Would you like me to come back another time to discuss that?
You know what? I think it would be a great thing if you could meet with myself and Ryan and a few of us, and we could preliminarily, is that a word? Figure that out and identify some spots that then we could present to the council.
We'll schedule that.
Great.
If any of you want, oh, sorry, by the way, if any of you want the full 11-page strategic plan, I have that. I think you probably want the paper. If not, I can email it to you.
Well,
I wanted to comment. I had family attending a lot there the last year with all of the different activities with Mr. Moon and that, and it's just been tremendous. The kids have just looked forward to the library days and going, so I want to commend you for that. That's been remarkable. When you figure 300 people show up for that little library, that's amazing. And
Got a great staff.
hopefully we can keep him around after, but anyway, thank you. I want to comment about that.
I appreciate that comment, and one thing meeting with Dan is I realized how much the library does that you don't know.
Unless you have
Story
somebody
times
involved in it, it doesn't get the publicity that a lot of other things get. And I just commend you for what you've been doing. Thank
and
you.
Brenda's been fantastic to try to get that on our website, and I think that'll continue to happen so we can get more exposure to the library as well.
Thank you.
Ryan Smith, recycling program discussion. Is he here tonight? Okay, maybe we'll postpone that one just briefly. There was a couple different cities that he was going to, spotlight in different ways that they run their recycling program. I think it would be good for our area to have a recycling program. So look forward to seeing him in the future. Ordinance 2018-417. This is amending titles 2 and 17. This has to do with the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Planning and Zoning Commission, we identified where there was a discrepancy between the terms of office. This takes it out of Title 17 and leaves Title 2. That's what's been discussed before. It also, there is a conflict between titles of treasurer and finance director in the same spot. It removes the finance director and separates those two out, and so leaves that. So we'll leave the code there. I believe we've talked about these items, but this discussion would be to move this onto a public hearing so that so we can move it there. So.
Has everyone had a chance to look at the packet and see the proposed changes?
Are you happy?
Yeah. If so, I entertain a motion to get this on the public hearing.
Dave?
Did we, one second, just
yes.
discussion of that for a minute. Did we all feel united on the language that's in there? I don't have any problems.
I don't have any problem with it either.
Everybody's there.
Mm-hmm. I'll make the motion.
Thanks, Councilman Dave.
Second.
Labrum. Barrett. Second by Councilman Labrum. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay, motion passes. And ordinance 2018-215. These are some that we looked at. First 16 pages?
First 16 pages that we looked at. So we're tracking this through the process. It's a long process to change code. It's not the government isn't efficient in changing ordinances and laws, which is probably good. So this is just changing those first 16 pages and following it through. We've gone through the discussion. We've talked about it. This is codifying it, but it would need to take to a public hearing.
Any questions on chapter 5?
Motion to move the hearing.
Okay, motion by Councilman White.
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman White. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Cedarview Mountain Well Special Service District Agreement Addendum.
I can cover that one. They have bonds that they need to have water agreements for 30 years. They have a water exchange agreement that we have between us, Duchesne County Water Conservancy District, and Cedarview Mont Well. That is a 32-year agreement, so it would satisfy that. But that is up to 100 acre feet. Following that, if they use that, then we have another agreement that has been since 2010. Wouldn't be for 30 years. They're just looking to expand and extend that agreement. There's not any real change in the language other than the term.
The length.
From staff side, we would recommend approval of that.
Any questions? Just changing that to a 30-year agreement, correct?
It's fine.
All right, if no questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilman Labrum,
I'll second it.
second, Councilman Burdick. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. The adult parole and probation lease terminations, so they're looking to move possibly, but they have a lease that's still intact, and so they're looking to exit that lease, correct?
Right, they found a spot, they've talked to us about expansions, whether we build a bigger building on the premise, whether we bring in portable trailers, and we just don't have the space to expand for them. They've found a space, it's the old Crescent Point building there off 1500 East in Ballard, and they're proposing to move to there and would vacate this property. We have talked to the court and the state about possibly using it for other spots, and they've both expressed interest. So we'll see how that goes. And as we've filled up all of our office spaces, if we expand as a city, there might be expansion opportunities there if we go through police or through other needs. So we would.
So I guess our option is to terminate the lease without any repercussions, basically, without executing any. So, any questions on that?
Ryan, did you say that you were okay with this? You felt like it was the right thing to do?
I would support it. They've been good to work with. We've been good. They've been good here. It's been great. We've talked to the police chief. He's not concerned with it being farther away. Ballard's not that far, and it's not a disadvantage to us. So at this point, staff side supports letting them go. We want to leave on good terms, and the state might very well pick it up in a different spot. So whether AT&T is there or not, it's good space that we can utilize.
Okay. Any other questions?
What is the space dimension that they have?
About 1,800 square feet.
1,800.
At the current time, I'd have to look at their lease payment for the year is almost $25,000. But we pay the cleaning, the utilities. We have been paying the phone. That's just recently been changed. We also pay Questar and Little Lane. So we pay all the utilities out at 25. So we're making slightly less than market for that, less than $1 a square foot. So we'll figure it out.
Any further questions? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve or to allow the adult parole and probation to terminate their lease.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Wade,
Second it.
by Councilman Labrum. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next item, Crescent Point Energy Agreement for Purchase Water. This has to do with sewer lagoons, correct?
That's correct. Sewer lagoons.
Has everyone had an opportunity to look at that agreement? Can you just, basically the same agreement? Sorry.
Basically, same agreement. They were happy with the 2018 or the 2017 agreement. They took 3%. It was a good working relationship. They're proposing to extend this into 2018. A few modifications that we would propose as we've reviewed and evaluated this. One of those conditions is the level. We would ask to add the level of 8 foot to the ponds. Between 8 foot and 6 foot, we would allow the farmer to use that acreage so that we'd set that, and then we have to keep a certain level in there in order to maintain the integrity of the ponds. So at 8 foot is kind of our minimum that we'd want them to take. We would flush and utilize other resources to keep a system flowing, and would work to maintain as much water in there as we could for them. But that level is what we'd look to add, and be able to add conditions that they would be looking at maybe 200 to 250 acre feet, so a little less than they took before. Because of the big storm, the big flood, we had a lot of extra in there. At this point, we don't have nearly the extra that we have had, and without the rain that we'd normally see over winter, we're lower than we would normally be, so we're a little cautious.
Does our storm drain flow into that also?
No.
That was just accumulated through?
It was just accumulated through, and there was some that flows there, but it's not designed to flow there.
I see.
Because of some infiltration and some pumps that happen to go there, and some that when you have a river running on top of the air vents.
Gotcha.
There was just a number of different things that played into that. We had an extra 1 million gallons or two that were flowing.
That's amazing, all those rains.
Well, I hope we get another, now that we have our storm drains in, I hope we get another storm like that this year.
Yeah, that'll
Yes,
be.
I'd like to see it.
Mayor,
Yes.
do we utilize, you said putting extra water, our secondary water that we don't get to use all the time, is that something, Ryan, that we've utilized? Do we do that because we're paying for it anyway? Do we?
It's on or off the record.
Yeah, that's a bad question. Move on.
We utilize water in various different spots to flush and maintain a line. Some of that comes from our secondary in order to maintain a clean system. We utilize it in areas that would be less affluent flowing through it. We could facilitate some of that flush. So we do use some of that in order for those things.
That's great. It's good for
A long
public to
answer
know.
for your
Yeah,
question,
but a good answer.
Yeah, it's a great answer.
Any
I
other-
don't think sometimes, I just think the public needs to know that we're trying to utilize that as
Yeah.
well as we can,
And-
because we have to pay a block amount.
Yeah, I think it should be known too, the amount that we make through that agreement is significant.
Yes.
And that was a good, good thought, or whoever came up with that idea is a great idea. Are there any other questions on the agreement? Seeing none? Oh, yes.
With
I'm Leslie
Crescent
Pearson with Crescent Point
Yes.
Energy.
Oh, I recognize you. I like that.
On behalf of Crescent Point, we just want to say thanks for letting us be here. But up until about 1:30 today, we didn't even realize that this was going to come in front of you guys.
Oh,
So to that, Crescent Point would like to table this discussion, and because we feel like there are more terms of negotiation that could be addressed with this, because in the 2017 agreement, we had the option to extend, meaning we had the full 300 acre feet for 2018, and that's what we based all of our drilling plans around for 2018. So if we are going to maybe renegotiate the acre feet and the pond, I should mention that we sent a surveyor out to survey the pond because we're not exactly sure what the quantity of the pond is. I got numbers back today, so I should have those survey results to Ryan probably next week to further this discussion as to what is going to be in there. But as of what we actually, right now the pond sits at about 11 feet of water. It's all that's in there, which isn't, and it's not adequate enough for Crescent Point's use, and barely would be adequate enough for the farmer's use at this point. So if we're going to table this discussion, I think we need to table it and see, because Crescent Point, basically this agreement is a take or pay agreement, and if the water was not there, obviously we're not
Sure.
We wouldn't
pay for it.
expect you to
So
pay for water.
if we could table this discussion and revisit it,
absolutely.
that's what Crescent Point would prefer.
And can I make sure that I'm invited to that,
Absolutely, yeah,
those negotiations? I'd love to be there.
okay.
I didn't realize that hadn't been done, and I
No.
apologize.
No,
We-
we actually,
We originally had talked about having it on here. We had it presented a couple weeks ago, talked about it, and we scheduled to come to planning zone, or to city council. And we've just indicated a few conditions because we don't want to drain the pond.
right.
At this point at 11 feet, to give you an idea, 11 feet, it's a 54 acre pond. It's approximately 162 acre feet above the 8-foot level. And we haven't started to flush.
Correct.
And so, but your need is and so this agreement obviously has 250.
The original agreement was,
And the original was 300.
I think the new one is 250, isn't it?
Crescent Point would like to stay, if that is it, we would like to stay at the 300 acre feet if it's available.
What is your time frame in trying to get this worked out? When will you start needing the water for 2018?
I think we're actually pulling, are we pulling? I think we're pulling
You've
now.
completed
We've completed
2017.
2017, but we've started pulling, I think they're actually going to turn it back on today for 2018.
So we need to get this
So
figured
that's why
out
we're
fairly
wanting to
quickly.
get it settled. If the council's good with us proceeding ahead and approving any contract to finish, I don't think there's a lot of differences where we're at.
Great.
I don't think the council would disagree with it. If they can't take it, if it's on our side, then we can't provide it, so they wouldn't be required to pay for that. The take or pay is applicable because if they have it in the pond and we keep it there, we take it and we wouldn't use another pivot for it, or we would have other uses for it instead. We said, all right, if we're going to commit this side, we won't do other things, and so we wanted to make sure that it was taken. The other thing is if our level is only certain height, and beyond that, we can't store any more than that. And so we needed to make sure that there was always a way that we can utilize water. And so we have to maintain a farm because that is our traditional utilization. The other thing is we need to make sure, and I think it would require the state has a permitting process that we need to make sure that we're in compliance with, and we work with the state.
We're working with the state currently, so.
But tabling is one option, approving it in form and letting us finish some of the small details of another option, but that's up to you.
Well, since you represent Crescent Point, and since you kind of will allow you to decide how you would like us to move forward as far as that goes, would you like it tabled, or would you like?
I think that we would like it tabled, and I apologize. My supervisor, Jake Woodland, he just threw me into this meeting last minute.
You tell Jake next time he would
come.
come.
But I believe we'd like to table it at this time if we could, so that we could work through some negotiations on that. Just because, and there's more that needs to be done. With the preliminary surveys, the results that we got done today, maybe the water might not even be there for us to use. And for the farmer it would be adequate, but for Crescent Point it may not be adequate. So like this hitting us at 1:30 today, we're like, oh man. So if we could have some more internal discussion, that'd be great.
I'm supportive of just tabling it based on let them go to work. You know, they've been going to work, they've been working on it now.
Yep.
Both parties want to come to an agreement, let's let them go to work. And
Right, we would love to buy the water, absolutely, if it's there, and if we're solid on that, we think we need to make sure that it's gonna be there for all parties involved.
Absolutely.
well, we're really appreciative of the partnership we've had, as a city in Crescent Point. It's been historical now. And the fact that we're able to provide you that water, we want to continue to do that. I'm sure the council feels the same way. And appreciative of our city manager finding a way to get that done last year.
Yes, it's been a great opportunity to work with you guys, and we continue to do it, so.
Anticipate it happens again. I'd motion to table till the agreement has been come back to us with further discussion.
Okay. Motion to table. Yes.
We can I'll make a meeting with you and Jake
You can make a
and
room
Ryan.
with me, and I'll let them know.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That'd be great. So we have a motion to table.
Second.
Table doesn't require action. but
Oh, all right. We'll table it for now.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Municipal complex grounds maintenance agreement. Now, I've read through this B2. One of the questions that I had for Ryan today was I wanted to make sure that we did that, and he said that we had. And B2.
B2 was the low bidder.
The low bidder. So has everyone had an opportunity to look through that agreement? It's for the maintenance here at this facility. Any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve that agreement.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman White,
I'll second that.
second by David Baird, Councilman Baird. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Parks restroom cleaning agreement. Again, this has been bid out. There were a couple bidders, and the low bidder has been chosen again on this one. Has everyone had an opportunity to read that? And if so, do you have any questions or concerns on that agreement?
That was the one that, had they previously done it? They have not, but the other ones had previously. Okay.
Do we have any history with these folks, I mean, on getting the job done? I'm always a fan of low bid, but low bid sometimes isn't best bid.
Yeah, Dustin met with them and is confident, the parks director met with them and is confident that they'll do a good job.
Okay.
We had other concerns with others, so we're good with this one and significantly cheaper, and it was good stuff.
Make a motion that we approve it.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Laborn, motion, second by Councilman Waite. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Well, we got through that. Purchase orders and quarterly financial review. You don't have a quarterly financial review tonight, correct?
Sign it on.
Has everyone had an opportunity to look at the purchase orders and sign those?
The one on the sidewalk, is that just to pre-approve you to pay it?
Yeah.
Because it hadn't been.
At this point, the items that come before us before we haven't made any payments. So we're looking for that. We have, we did go through a bid process. We went out, got a price, got a second quote, and the second quote was significantly less than the first, and so we're proposing to move forward with this. It would take it from the Burger King spot up to Palmer's Tire, and the state is contributing 75% of that project.
It'd be nice that it was coordinated with the Burger King there. I mean, you're seeing all that work right now that the one doesn't come in and destroy what the other one's done. I assume we're trying to coordinate that.
Burger King will do the sidewalk in front of them, so all of that's done. So
Oh.
it's just the tie in between where they
Okay.
end and where the new one starts.
Okay, great.
And that is,
Because it always said, oh,
yeah,
clear down the
that's
corner.
the entrance to Yak's.
Uh-huh.
Is-
That's where it'll,
That's where they separate.
okay,
So at that point, it will just take it from the actual drive from Yak's up to Palmer's.
great.
And that's where Burger King will have. That'll be their access. So it won't be hard to coordinate those. We're comfortable with that.
And the width? Is it 6?
6 feet wide.
Fantastic.
And the UDOT requires 6 foot wide next to
That's what I
the
thought.
To speak to that, again, it was sort of a purchase
But it sure.
order. We really have some complimenting to do with our management team there, getting that done with the state of Utah. And for the public, that's saving the Roosevelt City residents a significant amount of money because of the work that's done there. So I just want to express appreciation for their foresight and ability to get that done for us. I'm delighted to see that price and approving at that, just tickles me.
And a great addition to our community right there, too. That'll be great. Have that finished up. Great. Any other questions on the purchase orders? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Councilman Burdick,
Second it.
second by Councilman Laborn. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Reports from standing committees. Dave, or Councilman Laborn, do you have anything to report?
Did I report, we met with the parks on the last time, and I think we meet again, and we've had another meeting on the Johnson water. It's getting pretty, it's been most interesting.
Can't say a whole lot, but what we can say is there is progress being made there, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good. So Dustin wasn't able to be there with us, but it was positive and stayed mostly positive. And we got out of there before it went the other direction. So no, it was a good meeting. Anything else?
That's all. Thank you.
Councilman White.
I don't have anything to report.
Councilman Baird?
No, not right now.
Just a couple things. I met Johnson Water. That was a good meeting. The economic development is moving forward. Councilman Waite and we met together, discussed some things. I talked to Councilman Baird as well. I think we're getting a little closer. I don't have anything formal to present because I'm still gathering some ideas. I've talked with some of the heads of the entities that we've discussed, and they're looking forward to that, trying to get some ideas from them so that everybody has buy-in when we do decide to make that happen. It'll be a good thing. So just wanted to throw that out there. Councilman, what do you have anything for us?
Nothing new, just everybody get ready for the Red Bud Run coming up, 4th of July, and all
Yeah, it's almost here, isn't it?
the recreation department will be
Then
working
we'll
on
be
it,
looking
they always
forward
do.
to Christmas.
Exciting
Time
time.
flies.
They were hoping to cancel it this year.
What day? See how that one flies.
Tommy, I can see that you're about ready to burst. What?
I would love to see the Red Mud Run, but maybe a festival of colors to go with it.
Festival. Oh, okay.
Because you're already gonna plan on getting
Just
very
get blue and pink and red and
That would be a
green.
good, I don't know how many people here from the basin go and go out to the Festival of Colors in Payson.
That may be a suggestion for Councilman Waite and also some of the staff that do that. Might.
You know, I don't think that anyone has any opposition to letting that branch to wherever it goes.
I'd like to see that the council maybe accept that as a volunteer committee member.
I think that would be. I think that would be a good thing.
Perfect.
Tommy's a doer.
That's true.
That's great.
Down.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Burdick.
Out of BYU.
Which sport?
Stonegate moving along. Laterals are going
It's
in.
been
Eight south's moving.
27 years ago.
Stonegate moving.
That says something.
Opened the bids on 8 south sewer and water today, and I'm not sure how that turned out.
Didn't go as well as we'd hoped.
We talked to Troy about that a little earlier, didn't we, Troy?
But,
We're working on it.
we're working on our options.
Yeah.
And in fact, just so that you know, make sure it's on the record that Troy was a low bid, and so he'll start with his wheelbarrow and anybody else.
I've got no backhoe.
He's probably looking for some volunteers to help him out.
We'll be looking for a volunteer committee.
Great. Thanks, Councilman Burdick. Ryan, City Manager.
Yeah, just a few items to kind of cover with you, make sure you're aware. The softball and baseball is going to start here pretty soon. They started both the traveling leagues and the association. It was nice for us to be able to partner with them this year, to be able to have signups, so it went through our site that we already had. We've been able to work to improve that, and I think that's helping us improve our relationship with baseball, at least in softball we've done. Baseball fields, if you haven't been there, I think they're doing great. So we're excited about that. The airport, we have found out with the transportation bill that was passed that there is potential for us to be able to get maybe more than what we had hoped for. Pretty good news. There is approximately $1 billion in infrastructure spend for airports of non-primary use, which ours would qualify into that. And if we qualify and FAA selects us for that, it's potentially 100%, so we wouldn't have a match. So we're just tickled, and if that works out, then we would look to get the entire taxiway rather than just the partial that we were talking about. So we'd just be tickled pink if that actually happens. We don't want to count our chickens before they hatch. So we're still budgeting as if we would have our match, and if we would go through the partial parallel and all of that. So that's where we're budgeting, but we need to work towards that end.
Really quick to speak to that. So if we have a project planned and it's already engineered we have a better chance of getting money for that, correct?
Absolutely.
So I'm wondering, in front of the new hangar that's been up, and I'm wondering what we're wanting to do to the east, in front of Roberts' hangar, and then kind of maybe some ramp space there. It might be a good idea to
If it's not on our 5-year list, we won't be able to pull it in. And so the ones that are on our 5-year list would include the parallel taxiway, the full parallel, the ramps out of each spot so that it has exits, the teacup turnarounds with it, possibly security fencing.
now we won't need teacups if we have the full taxiway, correct?
Right, well, they'll attach on, but you're right, we won't need their full teacups. But there are a few things that we could possibly move up. Our likelihood, and what we're really working on, is the extra length of the parallel. We do have a hangar that's in the way, we have talked to him, and said he would need to move that, but his lease is up, and we have discussed that he would probably need to adjust that.
Okay.
So we have talked to him.
I'm just thinking if it'd be worth the investment to look at some of those things, get them on there so that some of those monies become available, even
If
for
we have
future.
engineering and we can do the engineering, that is one that is true if we have the engineering for it. The risk is if we don't get it in this one, we probably, that engineering only is good for a certain period of time.
That investment
5
maybe,
years, and so
maybe
it's a
have
risk,
us there longer.
but it might be worth, we were taking some of, we were expecting the risk for the partial parallel taxiway, because we were gonna say, hey, it's 2 years out. If we design it, we had kind of working towards taking that risk and that jump to have it designed. At this point, it's worth the risk to take the whole parallel and design it,
Right.
because there's that chance.
Well,
So,
I'm taking too much time and I got sidetracked, so
No,
I'll let you
let me
continue
finish
on,
on
but
two
we can discuss that.
one of the airport, another one of the airport, engineering for the airport was, we were expecting it would go through this year, through our 5-year, and when we made sure on the numbers, it actually expired the first of this year. So we're out to bid on airport engineering, which is good for us. We have it advertised, we have it bid, so when that comes in and we get the SOQs back, we'll evaluate those and come for approval. So
Would you make sure that Councilman Burdick is,
I will make
that
sure.
in my,
Yes.
I'd like to meet with some of those engineers and
So at this point, we really like the engineer we have. They have helped us get to this point. So there is a leg up for them to move into the next ones, because we would expect them to design and build, and being able to take that one through that next 5 years is probably a good way to do it, although it doesn't have to be done that way. So as we meet with them and they present their SOQs, we'd be looking at that. And there's a number out there, but we do have that out to bid currently. And then once we get it done, then we'll want to start engineering and start, once we get the engineering, we'd like to be able to get the award for construction possibly this year, so it's within that $1 billion. So, but we have to move pretty fast, so that's where we're at. So
great.
Stonegate laterals, like you said, they're moving along. Strata's work out in the industrial park is progressing there. The high school is progressing there. Public Works, like we said, P8 South. Secondary water, we're expecting to turn on secondary water possibly a week early, which would be this Friday. So we're hoping to get that up. We know that it's been dry, and the sooner we can get on, the better. So we're already starting pressurizing up in different areas. So that's what we're working on. Our tower for the water meters reading has been turned on, and we have successfully started reading. At this point, we're about 95% of the meters that would allow to be read by the tower. We're about at 95%, so we're pretty excited about that off of one tower. So anyway, That said, one other item I'd like to make sure that you're aware of, we have talked to the Water Conservancy District and visited with them. They are looking to adjust the amount of flow and determine how many additional water rights they need. So basically, the water right that they have, they're saying it is flow rather than acre feet. Our contract with them was acre feet plus a range of flow. And because they don't want us to go below, they want us to go below a certain level to maintain chlorine residuals. But with the amount of water rights they have, they can only provide up to a certain level. And so the question comes is whether we would adjust that, whether we would force them to maintain the agreement we have, which will cost a certain amount per water right, and do that. To give a perspective for you, they've given me this Excel spreadsheet, and I'll just kind of point out a few things on there. Currently, we pay about 15 cents for the water right inside of our water. If we proceed to enforce the contract to the 1,300 gallon a minute max that it has in the summer, they project that to cost 37 cents per thousand gallon of water for just the royalty. So there's a fairly substantial amount difference there. At that point, we don't pull that many acre feet, so we're using less than acre feet. So one option is saying, all right, if it's great for them to go out and this is the time to negotiate to buy water rights, then maybe that's great for them. But we're only pulling about 750 to 800 acre feet a year is what we kind of expect. We're trying to find ways to use the rest. But that might also be an option to say, well, maybe for a couple of years we take back, we sell them back the 200 acre feet. I'm not sure they're interested in that one. They'd really like us just to move our rate so that it works out. But anyway, just to keep you informed of what the issue is being discussed.
One quick thing. I think everybody's kind of familiar with what's going on, but to be able to get our 1,000 acre feet, which is what we have, which is a volume, not a flow, we would have to run about 600 gallons a minute throughout the whole year. In wintertime, we only use about 600 gallons a minute for our whole city. And so it puts us at a disadvantage when we can't use it during the wintertime, but then in the summertime, we're restricted to 700 gallons a minute. We can't get enough flow to make up the difference, and so we're still at a disadvantage. And so they're wanting us to try to run at a standard flow, 600 gallons a minute throughout the year to get our 1,000 acre feet, and it's almost impossible for us to do so.
And even at that point, their system comes in at midpoint. We can't service the higher end, so we're taking 600 gallons a minute, and we can't reach the top end of our system with that. So we can't push it up that way.
I've been in some of the negotiations, and the idea, Ryan did have the idea of selling that back or reducing that. If we want the more volume, the more flow during the summer, that means that they're going to have to get more water shares because they're limited to the flow of 4 second feet of water coming through the treatment plant. And so that's where the additional cost, if we enforce that we want that higher volume, then that's when the cost would be incurred. And it would be incurred to us and all the other users of the system. And so we're kind of at a tricky situation, but he's working on it, and I've been involved in working on it as well. And so
I think Councilman Lincoln and I were on the council when we negotiated the contract with them. There was a reason it went up to that level at that time, and that was to secure some of that capacity. And there was a lot of conversation. I don't remember all of it. It's been too long ago, but there was a lot of conversation on them needing to have that capacity sold. So there's a little bit of an oversell and underdeliver capability, and I don't know if the pipe sizing changed after that deal was done or what happened.
it has nothing to do with the pipe size. So their filing, their right
is 4 second feet of water, which is 1,700 gallons a minute.
So
The pipe will handle more than double that.
they don't have the capacity to put in the pipe.
Right, they don't have the water right to put that much water in the pipe. And so if everybody were to use an average of what their usage was, what's left for us is 700 gallons a minute, which we can't take that in the wintertime, and therefore, but that's what we'd have to take almost all year round to meet our 1,000 acre feet.
And we really argued that point over and over.
Yeah.
Because we stressed that we couldn't use it in the winter and keep our upper end,
And I think to get the
they
deal
agreed
done,
to do it.
there was
That's how come we
some
got the wide
they weren't
range.
completely
But
upfront,
they
and it
agreed
wasn't
to do it.
And I don't
who's
know whether
currently
they need
there.
it
Because they
right.
need
whatever-
us to sign.
whatever
Whole
we
different
do
group, I understand.
There
with
was
that
just-
agreement
When it
needs
came
to
down to it,
be in our
the acre
favor.
feet,
Yeah, it'll never
I
come
believe we
back.
bought acre feet thinking, I don't
That's
know this,
why
I'm looking from an outside
they
perspective,
fired
but it
the
appears
other
that we
guy.
bought acre feet thinking that we could
They
take
can
it like
get it
we
done
do our
without us
secondary
on there.
and use
We
or
want
lose
to
it,
sign.
but we can take
Mhm.
more as it goes, and it's sitting there, and we pull it down as we go. At this point, because of their water right restriction through the pipe, they can only push a certain amount. That's not the same issue that we have with sand wash. We can pull whatever we can pull out of sand wash. So the summertime when we expand out, we can still take it because it's flowing down to us and we can take it. They're
Well,
not restricting that.
What they did is they sold us volume
Right.
when they really had a right for flow. That's where the huge disconnect comes.
Correct.
To get the volume, you have to have a certain amount of flow to be able to get that volume. And because they're restricted in the flow, they should have sold us a flow rate, not a complete volume.
So one of my questions would be to them, do they have a desire to match their flow rate with the volume? I mean, is that their desire to, hey, let's get that to where we can actually match the capacity of this pipeline? Or do they really have another capacity problem with at the
Well, there's other capacity problems because there is there's algae bloom that's going on right now, and so they have a restriction problem for algae bloom. And they'll need $1 million strainer to be able to fix that problem, $2 million strainer to fix that problem. So they have other constraints. The water right that they have is owned by Duchesne City, and they lease it, and so Duchesne City controls the
Our
price of
future.
that. And at some point, if they're not in control of the water right, then they don't control the price. And that price can vary, and so I think there is some interest for them to own water right. At this point, those water right costs are fairly expensive, and all they
200
have to
and-
do is they have to push it on to us at a rate.
Currently, though, we could stay within the negotiated cost if we were to work with them and not try to, yeah. But, and what that, so it's one of those things, I think we ought to put it on the agenda for one of the next meetings.
I'm really in favor of working with them, but what I don't want to do is put us in a position, if they change their, I don't want to put Roosevelt City in a position where we give up the capacity right, based on we're not gonna fill the flow right, but then all of a sudden the flow right comes, and then we're in a position where we don't have the ability to get our capacity back.
I
So
agree.
if we're gonna match it and, enter into a partnership that way, I'm all for it. But I do not want us to give up the horse without the saddle.
I think the other piece of this pie, and the piece to understanding is that we have a system that is servicing just the south area. How much expansion are we doing in the south of Pole Line Road? Because that's where a lot of this growth would happen, and if we're going to be able to utilize more of the Victory Line, it's gonna be south of that Pole Line Road level, and that becomes a question, because I think there's some growth potential there, but do we really want to commit to acre feet of water in order to provide for an area that we're talking about not expanding to?
Yeah, and to go along with that, with the negotiation with Johnson Water, that's to be determined whether or not we'll even be able to utilize that. And the other thing is the property owners currently surrounding Pole Line are not in any
at all interested in developing their property and won't be for 20 to 30 years. So
And if that's the case, are we buying water for the next 20 years for places that aren't looking to develop, and we're not looking to develop them?
but I think what you said is important, that we want to have a first right of refusal on that water.
It's
so that
cheaper
at
to
some point
hang
in time
on to it than to give it up and
But
buy it again later.
we don't want to pay for that
be there
water in the
to buy.
meantime when we're not even
That's
able
what
to
we
use it.
kept thinking.
And I agree 100%. We just need to keep
Water's
those,
gonna be the most
those
expensive
sides
thing.
in the conversation. And I think that the district's operating in good faith. Their management is different now.
Wouldn't there also
Management that was involved
be the
originally
potential
oversold the project a little
utilize
bit.
that
There's no
water
doubt
without
about that.
it going
But
into?
just make sure that as we're coming together, is what I'm saying.
That
So
was
that
it.
the direction doesn't switch on us.
That was
I don't know if
restricted.
it's just
It
we
had to
can't
be,
do much
because it
more.
was all culinary,
And
considered
highly
culinary,
hydraulic.
even though it's going.
I'm not sure we
A
can even
lot
take
of
her
it's
down
going right
at
to
this
the oil
point.
field.
Might be a very good thing for us.
So, at that point, if they would take and reduce down to that, 800 acre feet level, and then we have a right to purchase in the future, and if it does grow and we can do it, that's great. But a lot of our, we don't utilize a lot of our, wells that way. We've got 6 operating wells up there. We're using 1 during the winter and intermittently at that point. We've got a lot of resource up there. And this is one
Nervous just
that we're
having
really
the wells.
trying, having to
We've got
fight to
flow from
take
the
it all.
west.
I'm with you though. I would hate to see us give up
We
any
set it up, and it's
water
cost
rights
to do
because
it.
they're hard to come by.
Yeah.
So, great discussion. Anything else for us?
I
Ryan?
believe, one last item, just so that you guys are aware.
Okay, you have 45 seconds. I'm
Well, we
joking.
had a bet that it would go beyond there, so I'm just letting you know. No, we have the annual, UDOT's annual visit, just making sure you're all aware.
Oh, that's right.
And we are, just
Tuesday,
have,
Monday?
been working on our budget, and we'll have that out, we expect at the next meeting. Just with John being gone, I'd like to avoid it for him to be here to help present that. He's worked really hard on getting things together there, so we'll present that at that point.
Thank you.
Was he announcing the UDOT?
That is
Is
on
that-
the Monday the 9th at 9 a.m.
Are we
Everybody's
collaborating rides, or is there any thought of that, or just show up
We can meet here at
8:15?
8:15. If anybody'd like to ride over, we can meet here at 8:15.
Where's this meeting gonna be?
in
It's
Duchesne.
in Duchesne.
Okay.
Yeah,
I should know that already. I think I read about it.
Troy, you'll be there, won't you? Great. I think it's a real beneficial thing to know what's happening in eastern Utah on our roads, and to make some comments about what we would like to see in the future. They give that opportunity, so I really thought those were good to attend.
Fantastic. All right, well, it looks like we don't have any pending discussion items. That I have no knowledge of any need for closed session. If no further discussion, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Barrett and second by Councilman Wade. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion